Ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags. Today we're going to take a look at a couple of low-level aircraft. We're going to start off with the British Premium D.520. Now, the D.520 is a British Premium, Era 2, Battle Rank 3. It was built by the French. Its armament is a single 20mm cannon mounted down a long axis, a Hispano 404 cannon with 60 rounds of ammunition, and 4 7.5mm 1934 MGs. With 2,700 rounds of ammunition. Overall, performance-wise, this aircraft flies a lot like a Bf-109 E3. It carries an armament, however, that's more comparable to something like the first F1. Cockpit is really nice in this plane, actually. The bracings for the cockpit are very thin. It's got a really strange-looking gun sight. Really detailed cockpit with the support bars across the top. The wings are nice and thin, which gives you a really good forward visibility, at least to comparable fighters in the time. Nice and clear display on the gauges within the cockpit. Everything's nice and clear, and there's a gauge for pretty much everything in there. The only thing it seems to be lacking is the artificial horizon. Due to the wings being forward and slim, visibility behind the wing is excellent. And rearward cockpit visibility is not too bad either. The big panel in the section, the armour plating for your headrest, it does block a little bit of the view, but considering where the cockpit ends, the side windows do give a large amount of rearward visibility. Now, the credit reward for this aircraft is 190 plus 190 with 143% modifier to RP gain, so it's not a bad little machine. Top speed is about 580 is where it's listed on the scorecard, which is, as I said, comparable to the E3's 570, fully upgraded. But the 20mm it carries is better than anything the early 109s get, and with 4 machine guns rather than simply 2, when that cannon runs out of ammunition, the aircraft is still combat viable. It does take a little bit more work to get it to perform. The MGs are not the best in the game, but the fact you have 4 of them does help a lot. Good ammunition belt selection. I'm running omni-purpose in all belts at the moment. And we just climb up to altitude, sitting at about 8,000 feet and getting my airspeed up, looking for first targets. Now, when I first got this Premium, I actually didn't like it. I only flew it 3 or 4 times prior to this match. I'm still sitting on free repairs. It wasn't what I was expecting it to be. Whenever I think French, I tend to think more along the lines of manoeuvrability and speed. And while it is a fast aircraft, its manoeuvrability isn't bad. I was not expecting it to fly like a 109, which is exactly the way you should approach this aircraft when flying it. Now, that's boom and zoom tactics are the go-to for this aircraft. Turn only when you need to or when the situation calls for it. I do tend to turn more in my planes, but that's very much my style, regardless of whether they're boom and zoom or not. First targets come up. We've got an F4U at low altitude. I'm going for it first. Just bringing it into gun range. And fireball. First kill for the match. A nice easy kill. He got caught by surprise. His situational awareness was down. He never saw me incoming. And he was in a slight climb, making him an easy kill. Just using the speed to pull out a distance. Now, there's an P-38 on my arse. Even though their flight model has been changed, I haven't had an opportunity to fly it yet, so I'm not entirely sure exactly how they're performing now with the adjustments that were made. Regardless, they still scared the shit out of me after the last time I flew them, so I'm just getting out of the area as fast as I can, so I can turn back. And he's definitely interested. He's keeping pace with me. Although it does show that something has been done with the plane. If this was the start of patch 1.39, he would have caught me by now. I'm only doing 470. The fact that he hasn't means they have been slowed up, and that is an XP38G, so it is fully upgraded as it's the Premium. He moves to engage one of our other fighters, so I turn back, bring guns onto him. Just nose down. I want to close in nice and close. While the armament on this aircraft is good, I'd rather be at almost point blank range before I hit target. Just firing the MGs. I'm saving the remainder of my cannon ammo. I have 35 rounds left. Just testing out my aim. And here we go with the cannon. Not quite leading enough. Last of the cannon rounds does critical damage. Now I'm down to just MGs. And this is the biggest fall point with this plane. The 60 rounds of ammunition does not last long. The Hispano 404 has a pretty good fire rate, so it will get through the 60 rounds in a real hurry. But just because I'm out of cannon ammunition doesn't make this plane any less dangerous. Incendiary rounds light up his engine, a few extra shots to make sure the second engine's crippled, and that's the kill. Use speed to get back to altitude. I'm playing fairly defensive at the moment, hanging back to my side of the map. I am going to have to advance forward soon enough, however. Just checking the scorecard, and I can see that I am the only player on the team to have actually scored kills at this point in time. Both the team's kills are mine. The third kill, the AI, was actually taken down by a second AI, which is, well, it's not a good start to the match. So I can see two P-40s directly below and beneath me. These are dangerous aircraft. These planes are just as fast as I am, and they're more manoeuvrable, and they're armed with 450 caliber machine guns, so they're better than me in pretty much every way. Doesn't mean you can't fight them, however. And I'm going to have to be shot down eventually. Just trying to get myself into a good position with a lot of energy above them so I can hit them fast and get the hell out of the area. I don't want to get into a sustained turn fight with P-40s. They will wreck this aircraft. Take my dive, whip off. I don't want to overspeed. 580, I just shallow it out. I was going in a little bit too fast. Tracking the planes beneath me. Bring it back onto the turn. And the P-40 zooms out of the area. Back to wet, pull it back into a climb. Go vertical and loop over. Next P-40 is on target. Rip some shots across it. Not enough to make it crash, unfortunately, but he definitely felt it. He's moving back into assistance with his friends. Turns back underneath me, and you can see the extra turn ability that the P-40 has. It's far beyond what my aircraft does. So loop it over and bring it back onto the tail. Now, for some reason, he tries to go for a combat landing here, drops the landing gear to go in, and I don't understand. He's got a fighter on his tail. It's the last place you want to go. Unless I took out his engine in the process of that. So I rip some more shells across his rear, and there's my third kill. Turn around to engage the remaining aircraft. Get some shots into the air cobra as it goes past. Take it high and loop around. Now, what I don't realise at this point in time is the top killer for the enemy team is none of these guys. There's actually a P-47 that's sitting directly above me at the moment. I never knew it was there. I never looked at the radar, and I take a hit. Only a little bit of damage, but that wasn't what killed me. Take a second hit, black me, and P-47 rams me and just keeps going. I checked the replay after this. He actually took no damage from striking my aircraft like that. And that was the end of the match for me. So a good match with a bad ending. 3 kills, the only 3 kills that the team took. First place, Terror of the Sky, 40,650 silver lions, and 2,162 base aircraft research points. No modifier because I'm not researching anything due to having the British tree complete. Now, what was interesting about this match was that P-47 ram. Now, I know in the past the P-47s have had massive issues in regards to their damage model. They have not been taking anywhere near as much damage as they should have, but I'm not convinced that it's been corrected properly. I think they're overperforming at the moment. This is not the first time that I've seen a P-47 ram an aircraft and simply take no damage and just keep flying. It's not uncommon. I'm pretty sure they're taking damage from enemy aircraft fire fairly accurately, but I'm not sure the damage model is calculating ramming damage correctly in the plane. I will have to do some testing in the future to see if this is the case or whether or not I've just seen a number of very, very lucky P-47 pilots. Anyway, moving on to the next match. Now for the next match, I'm up in the BF-110. Now I'm squatted up here with Mockton, one of my subscribers, who shot me a message, and I often get this question asked, do I fly with my subs? Well, yes I do. If you shoot me a message and I don't respond, it's likely that I'm AFK, otherwise I will always respond to any messages that I receive. In the case of Mockton, he caught me right at the end of the night as I was getting ready to log off, and asked to go out for a fly, and wanted to go out in the BF-110, so sure thing, not a problem at all. Now the BF-110, it's very much the Beaufighter of the German forces. Twin 20mm, with 360 rounds of ammunition, and 4 7.92s with 4,000 rounds of ammunition, with a 7.7 hanging out the back for additional firepower. The 729mm turret out the back, however, is rather interesting. It cannot fire directly down the tail. It can only fire at about an angle of 10 degrees up, so if somebody falls directly behind, they're actually below the firing arc for your rear turret. You've got to angle the plane slightly upwards in order to be able to get effective shots onto aircraft that fall into your tail. Thankfully, I don't really worry about that too much. The 110 is so manoeuvrable that in most cases you can engage in a turn in order to break away from enemy aircraft. It does overheat fairly quickly, so it does require moderation on the WEP. You'll see through this match I'll be constantly flicking the WEP on and off due to engine overheating. However, it is manageable. As soon as you turn the WEP off, the plane does cool rapidly. This is also one of the few heavy fighters in the game, or heavy fighter slash bombers, that actually has a cockpit, and it is a really cool looking cockpit. You see the armour plate at the back, which leads onto the tail gunner, exceptionally well designed inside. Now you'll notice we'll be using the chat box almost exclusively through this match. Due to the time that Mockton got in contact with me, we were unable to set up comms. So all communication and coordination between us was actually done via chat window. It's not the most efficient way of getting the job done, but it was enough to make this effective. Now I'm levelling out at just sub 10,000 feet. The plane is capable of going higher, but there's really no need to. Most of the low-level battles, Era 1 and Era 2, tend to take place below this altitude, so I'm pretty much at the altitude cap for fighting at the moment. I'm fully expecting the enemy team to show up at about 5,000 to 6,000 feet beneath me. Now I've got no visual on dots or targets ahead of me at the time. However, the first target has shown off my right wing, so I begin my arc over. Mockton's already moving in. And I can see there's actually a number of fighters in that area that have not been red boxed yet. And he takes his first kill. Now, the wreck did clip him on the way through, but the damage was only marginal, not enough for him to need to RTB, so he's continuing through to combat, and the second target has shown up at altitude, an F2A. Now, these aren't the base level Buffaloes, these are F2A3s, armed with 450 caliber machine guns. These are incredibly dangerous aircraft, one of my favourite aircraft to fly at low tiers, for a bit of fun. Mockton has two diving in on him, so I roll over and begin my dive. There's a third aircraft at low altitude, so I'm diving into a three-way fight here, and there is a Hurricane too that is going to show up in a few moments. So first target up, take some lead shots. Get some good hits on the F2A3, it rolls over. There's no real way for me to follow it, but I will turn in a wide arc and try and stay with it. Into the vertical, the elevation control on this aircraft is very, very, very good. Providing you're fighting in the vertical, this plane can keep most turns with things like the Buffaloes, especially when they're damaged. Its yaw rate, however, is not particularly great, which can make aiming quite difficult. As you can see here, I just cannot yaw the plane over enough to get the guns on target, despite having a perfect kill if I was able to. The Buffalo reverses its turn, so I go underneath, push it into a barrel roll, and then loop back around. Second F2A passes over my tail. I manage to avoid its guns. Hurricane goes through. Take a shot and miss. And here goes the high angle. Use the MGs to try and keep this F2A off my tail. The incoming fire seems to shake him away. Straight into a brake turn and bring it back around. Now, Mockton has a number of fighters on his tail. I have to clear him, otherwise he's going to go down. But first I've got to handle what's coming in. Not aiming particularly well here. Do manage to clip the buffalo, however. And you can see there, the F28 that was on my tail, I could not get the turret onto it until it actually got to a higher angle, so I pushed it into a dive so I can get shots in. But as it slowly comes down, in a few seconds it's actually going to drop below my bullet. There it goes. He's below my convergence now. Flip back in, push it down again. So the turret's not going to be enough, so I take it straight up. He's broken off. And bring it back around. You can see my engine has hit the amber. I'll flick the WEP off here in a second. I just need the WEP on at the moment to give me the speed I need to intercept this F2A. Now, why I was unable to kill this F2A with the MGs, I obviously seen some damage to its engine, which is why it's broken off. Ran some extra shots at it. Miss again. I'm still on 172 rounds of ammunition. Aileron roll back to level. The Hurricane is all over Mockton, so I have to clear out to him. Buffalo removes to the tail, however he breaks off. I think he got a little wary after the MG encounter last time. Again, the Hurricane seems to have target fixated onto Mockton. He never sees me come around behind. Line him up. And there's my first kill. Now the engine is very much in overheat here. I'm keeping the WEP on because I need to intercept fast. Buffalo goes high, second kill. Mockton's tail's cleared. And we pull Peel back into formation. And that was it. That was the last fighters in the match destroyed. I pull the throttles back to 0 here to drop it out of the red so I don't burn my engines out. And that's the entire enemy team eliminated. We head back towards the runway, but there's no real need. The match ends before we get there. So let's go through to the results. So, first place on the team with 2 kills. Mockton comes in second place, also with 2 kills, only just behind me in score. Terror of the Sky, Bulletproof and Balancer awards. 20,984 Silver Lions. 1,894 Mod RP. And 833 air research points, but only on 44% because it's an Era 1 aircraft researching the Era 4 German MiG-15 Biz, the last aircraft in the game I have left to unlock. And a good fun match overall. I do like flying with my subs, and Mockton was a pleasure to fly with. I'm looking forward to the next time we take him out. Until next time, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.